All right, hey everyone, and welcome back to Be a Warrior podcast. It is so great to have you here, and we are getting closer to the end of October, and I don't even know how that's possible. I don't know about you guys, but life has gotten absolutely crazy in our house here. We've got, a son that's finishing up his last semester of college this holiday season, and another son moving into a home this week. And I barely am making it on here today and this week to bring you a short message because I figured I don't have much time but for short messages. So this might be a winner one for you guys because you might be able to get through the whole thing. I try not to talk for too long, but I have been literally racing around absolutely crazy, like can't catch my tail kind of a thing. And between things that happen at your house and things that are going on in the world and things in life and your family and everything, I don't know if you've ever felt like this, but it's like I'm in the midst of a million projects and a million things all at once, and everything's out of sync. Like even today, ran to the grocery store, honest to God truth, it was me trying to do all this grocery shopping that I didn't mean to do. So I had a smaller cart, get out to my car. I had just gotten an iced tea. Literally, I knocked it by accident. It went over, it spilled over all of my groceries, totally poured out. I hadn't even had a sip yet. And then while I'm doing that and exasperated by everything being wet from iced tea, thank goodness unsweetened, I pick up a big wrapped bag of water bottles, go to fling it into the back of my Bronco, and it rips in the middle, and they all go rolling out all over the parking lot at our grocery store. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So about 3 or 4 people were wrangling them for me and helping me, and they're like, do you want bags? I'm like, no, I'm just literally throwing loose water bottles in the back of my truck. This has been the last couple days, and I started to think about something. If you ever get into that position, what I have noticed is it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I kept saying last night, the world's out of whack. I feel totally not in sync with the world and the vibes in the world and whatever's going on. The energy is just not in sync. And then it continued today, and I was like, what in the world? And then I realized it's me. When I get too many things on my plate and my brain is going in a million different directions and a million different thoughts at a different high-speed miles, everything starts to kind of collapse on itself. And I thought, time to slow down. Now, I say this, but I also need to bring to fruition that as I'm going through all this, my socket and I have not been agreeing. And that is just kind of part of an amputee life. So you add in the fact that I've been trying to ignore what's going on with the socket fit while I'm trying to do my life, but I'm not even doing the life that I normally do, like working out or hiking. I'm literally barely making it around my house and to the store to get things. And that can be so frustrating. It's a good thing I have enough other things on my plate right now that have kept me sane with things not being perfect. But it brings me to the fact that one of the biggest things I've noticed with a lot of amputees that I'm talking to right now is they cannot find the right fit. And when I say that, I do mean socket fit, but I also mean the prosthetist and the fit with their practitioner. And that is such a tough game. Like I have told you a million times, if I've told you 12, that my prosthetist and I get along really well. And I am extremely fortunate because they do such a magnificent job with their work, their design, allowing me to do what I want to my socket. So it looks like me and is a reflection of me and it makes me happy to wear. But they also worry about the fit. They listen to me. Like I listen to my body and I try to communicate to them the best I can what's going on. So to reel it back a bit, for those of you that have been following my journey, in June, I decided to have a revision surgery because we found a foreign object in my leg. And interestingly enough, I do have it here. I asked the surgeon for it. So if I haven't showed you, This was the foreign object that was found in my leg. You can see how big it is. It would fit in the palm of my hand. It is plastic. It is a screw. We think it's a bone plug that fell out of my femur. It had been causing me problems that we couldn't understand for about 6 years, almost my entire time of being an amputee. So I decided to do that along with that AMI procedure. I wasn't sure I would do the AMI because it is a study and it's still, under review. And I'm part of that protocol. But I did all that in June. And then I couldn't wait to get back in my socket. But of course, I have to heal. I have to get the sutures out. I have to get the okay and the clearance to get casted in my new socket. So all that went really quick. Actually, I was a couple weeks ahead of schedule for the surgeon. So he was really pleased with that. But I also spent a lot more time than I've ever done in test sockets or check sockets. Like I think I spent 3 months in check sockets. The final one being what looked like going to be my final socket, except I even shrunk some more because with surgeries, it takes a good year for your tissue to heal, but it also takes months for all the swelling to go down and for your limb to form to what it is you're wearing. Which brings me to the fact that we finally, 2.5, 3 weeks ago, I got into my socket you're seeing right here in front of me. This beautiful socket. If you look on any of my videos, you'll see pictures of it. I did some video and I put a short out today. But the problem is I took this home 2 days before heading out to Kauai. We go to Kauai each year. And I was excited because the new knee that I have here, the Oser Navi, is saltwater proof. So I could take one less leg with me. I had a beach leg that could handle the salt water, but this one could go in salt water. So I was so excited to get all this. The problem was, as soon as I got home that same day that I got my final socket, we put it all together. I walked in it there. By the time I got home and I hit one store before that, my leg was literally falling off of me. And that is so frustrating. One, it's frustrating for me to tell my prosthetist that it's already too big, especially after the hours of paint job and the decals. And I made these decals and he put them on and he does a nice job and he's neat and he's clean and it's great. But I know how many hours he puts into finishing up my product. And then to tell him it's not fitting, not to mention the disappointment of me seeing that I've already lost the volume that I need to keep it on. So the very next day, the day before our trip, which is a week-long trip, I went back in and I am a skin fit, which means I don't have liners and I don't have socks. The socks are used by 1-ply, 3-ply, or 5-ply to thicken up the difference between the volume shrinkage in your leg and your socket so that you can be in your socket longer. In a skin fit, I don't have that option. I can't put socks on because it's skin fit. It's meant to be right up against my body. The only option we had was between the hard and soft is to shove in really fine, thin pieces of foam that will pad it. And he did that. And I felt tight at first, got home, and it literally was too loose again that night before our trip. But I dealt with it, and I said, we're just going to have to get through this week. Now, ironically, the whole week in Kauai, we're drinking and eating probably a little bit more. Everything fit fine. It was good. But we came back to an appointment, and I had to go in to have him make a quick fix. Now, I say this delicately, because if you're a skin fit, there really isn't a lot of play for making adjustments. It's literally, if it's not fitting, you remake the entire system, this hard part and the inner part, because they are stuck together. The inner part is just there to kind of give you a little cushion because it would hurt like heck to be in this. It's kind of like what it would be like to wear your check socket all the time. So to do anything, to change anything, you really need to actually redo the entire socket. And I am not ready to do that to him or for myself because it is, again, a whole nother learning curve and things will be different and feel different because no two sockets are made the same, even with the same mold. And I also don't want to do that to him because he did so much work on this beautiful socket. So we went in and I said, listen, here's where I'm feeling it. And I started actually at the end of the trip, I did start losing suction. Right at the bottom here, I could feel my leg pulling out and squishing back in. Every step, pull out and squish back in. And you hear it through the one-way valve here. And that's never a good sign when the end of your residual limb is shrinking up and it's not filling the space at the bottom of your socket. And so then that causes problems. What it actually does more than anything is it causes a mental issue, because you know it, you hear it, you feel it, and then you are worried about doing anything extracurricular because you're afraid it's going to fall off, or it's going to come out, and every time it does come out a little bit and go back in, it goes back in, your skin's a little different. So it doesn't feel good then. So you're shifting in it and it's not staying steady. So I went in and he did all this work to shrink up my inner liner just a little bit. He refilled the plastic with a quick drying cement, shaved it down where we knew I could shave down just a little bit, reheated the black liner, inner liner, and then shrunk it, sucked it, vacuumed it to the cement. And what that does, though, however, is that it makes a bigger gap between this hard part and the soft part. So we still then had to put in some padding to make that work. Well, I am now still feeling it. It is still loose. And I'm actually rubbing myself raw in my groin every single day. And every single night I take off my leg. It is bright pink, hot, angry. I use a little bit of salve on it before I go to bed, wake up, put it on, and do it every night. And it's not healing, but it's not getting any worse for wear. So here we are in the midst of all this wonderful change and the fact that I feel like I am not one with the universe right now. And it's just like this weird spiral. Now here's where the lesson comes in today, at least what I think should be. After listening to my pastor this week, who did a very great job at Scottsdale Bible Church, you see people in the world that should not have hope or look so happy or joyful, yet they are. And, I try to do that. Yes, I have my moments. I'm not going to lie. Everybody has their moments. But all in all, what you see on here is me 90% of the time, despite anything that might be going on or in spite of it. And what he talked about was the fact that we are just imperfect beings. And that is good because Jesus was perfect and we don't need to be perfect. So number one, you got to kick that to the curb that you're not going to be perfect. No one is. Christians go to church. I go to church because I'm not perfect and I need help, right? We all need that. But where does my hope or my joy come from? Is knowing that this is temporary. Everything I'm dealing with, everything I'm struggling with, and laughing at 25 water bottles rolling across a parking lot, I have to laugh because that's just part of the karma of, see what happens when you put too much on your plate and you get out of control. Like life is out of control. And it totally feels like that right now. My leg isn't perfect right now, but I'm walking. So I have hope that tomorrow is a better day. I don't dwell in what's so negative about what's going on in my life right now because there's way too many things that are going right. And that is where our shift needs to be. So I know that a lot of you might be just struggling with something right now, and you don't even have to be an amputee. You might just be struggling in life. And I hope this message resonates with you. You have more positive in your life than you tend to see or think. Because what ends up happening is when something negative happens, we as humans tend to just gravitate towards that drama and that frustration and the letdown and the fears, anxieties that come with things that aren't going well. And the what ifs of it, if you can see you probably can't see it. You can see part of it. My leg at the very bottom here says even if. And if you look at Daniel 3:1 in the Bible, it talks about that. Because even if my socket's not fitting well, I have breath in my lungs. I have a beautiful, healthy family. The sun is shining. I have 2 cute dogs that keep me company through the day. I have a horse that loves to see me. I have clothes on my back, food in my belly. I have a house, a shelter. Life is so good. And maybe it's not perfect, but that's okay. What's perfect in life? I mean, really. So if you take anything away from today, especially if you're struggling, if you're an amputee and your socket's not fitting, there are such a plethora of things that can be going on, correct? So don't think that it's just one and done. Like, you have to know in your gut, if your prosthetist isn't listening to you, you know in your gut that you're not being heard, then you need to maybe interview other prosthetists and get someplace else. If your socket isn't fitting well and you need to bring it up to your prosthetist, but you're worried, you need to tell him, because they don't know until you say something. They assume that if they don't hear anything, no news is good news. And so you need to keep them aware. It's not that you're being a pain, it's that you want it to be the best so you can live your life. But on our end, what can we do is we can change our heart, we can change our mind, that we can control. So when things get crazy, like I said, today was the epic pinnacle of everything that could go wrong was going wrong right in public view. Here's this amputee trying to handle a drink, handle water bottles and groceries, and everything is flying everywhere. It was absolute mayhem. But the people I met and the opportunity that I gave people that I didn't know an opportunity to do something good for somebody else, that may have filled their bucket for the day. And I laughed with them and we talked about it. And, you have that side conversation before you go and realize now you have a complete mess in your car. But you know what? That's just life. So make sure that your heart, you've checked your heart, you've checked your mind and where your attitude is, because you can get through anything if those two spots, your head and your heart, are aligned with a positive message. And when we do that positivity, then we can rise above the minutia of horrible things that go on in a day. Because in perspective, look back at the days you thought were horrible and you made it through, and now you're on to bigger and better things. Well, that's the same thing as right now. So you may be struggling. Maybe you have an infection. Maybe you can't find the right surgeon. Maybe you are struggling with your fit. Maybe your prosthetist has let you go and said, I can't do anything for you. It's you. Take a heart check. Take a mental check. Step back. Take a deep breath and slow down. And this is a message to me, because I know that when I get too many things on my plate and I'm going too fast, like the speed of light, that's when things tend to go wrong. And the worst thing that could happen right now is me being somewhere else as I'm driving and I have an accident. So I need to remember what's most important, and that is the fact that all things are good in my life. I am very blessed. I feel very happy. And I hope you can find that too, despite or in spite of your circumstances, because your circumstance is temporary. Trust me, even if it's been going on for a year or 2 years. I had 5 years of circumstance with this leg before I became an amputee. And guess what? Just because I amputated did not make my circumstances go away. I had new ones. So now I could bend my knee, but now I can't get a socket to fit right or whatever. So just because I've gotten through one circumstance doesn't mean another one's not coming. So for me to better and more effectively hurdle those problems, issues, circumstances, whatever you want to call it, I need to be in good heart and good mind standing. And that means that I know that this will come to an end, that not bad things, all bad things don't just continue for the rest of my life. I don't have a black cloud over me, even though sometimes it might feel like it. And I know some of you out there feel that way. It is a season. It is a moment in your whole life. When you look back on anything right now, you might see only the most beautiful things that happen to you. Why? Because when we go through something on a day-to-day basis, it's fleeting. It comes and it goes, just like all things in life. Sometimes you're extremely happy too, and those come and go. I know a few people that are what I call in the valley right now. And to you, I speak to you now. When you feel like you're in the valley and you're struggling really hard and you are not seeing the light of day anymore, just remember that at the lowest point that you are, the only view is up now, which I think is ironic, because when we are at our lowest, that's when a lot of people find a higher power that they have to cling to, right? A lot of times when things are going wrong, that's when we cling to our faith Christians, we tend to seek God out more. We pray more. We read the Bible more. Well, when you're in the valley, the only view is up. So you're not going to get any deeper. And that's what one of the ladies said that helped me pick up all the water bottles today. She's like, well, it can only go up from here, right? And I'm like, well, I hope so. I mean, I think it could get worse, but let's not go there. But true, right? If you just laugh that off and realize, well, that just sucked. But did it ruin my day? No, absolutely not. I actually met a beautiful woman at the grocery store because of that. And I'm a richer person for that because I touched somebody else's life and they touched mine. So when you are there, just remember to look up, to keep your faith, to have faith that this too shall pass and you're going to be great, and just not to give up, and to understand that we can adjust the way we feel and the way we're thinking about things despite anything happening around us or to us. And we can choose how we view our life and our world at that moment. So choose wisely, because you get one chance to do this, and you want to choose wisely so that you can enjoy more of your life. If you had a choice between enjoying life or hating your life, I would think you'd want to enjoy it. Well, guess what? That is really up to us to enjoy our own life. Whatever might be coming at us, no matter what storms are brewing, we have to choose what we do with those moments. And I choose happiness. I choose reaching out to people. I choose to find joy in the little things. I choose to hug my pups and to kiss my husband. I choose joy every single time. And the next thing I know, I look up and I'm back at the mountaintop again. So I hope this finds you well. And if it doesn't, I hope you found hope in this message and that it brings something to you that you never thought you could do. So to a call to action, start writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day. Start your day that way or end it that way, whatever works for you on your schedule. But write down 3 things the next 7 days until we meet again. 3 things you're grateful for each day. And I bet even if you have to come up with the most mundane, small, minute thing, you can at least smile and say, yeah, that is a good thing. And I do have good things to be happy for. I mean, even if it's the basic of at least I have a house, so I'm not outside in the weather or the climate. There's people that don't have that, and they can probably find 3 things they're grateful for too. So that's up to you. Your mindset, your heart posture is up to you. So get after it. 3 grateful things for the next 7 days and see what happens from there. Maybe you'll have started a brand new positive momentum with that, and you'll start writing 3 things you're grateful for every day for the rest of your life. And that would be a marvelous thing. So I hope you're doing well. I hope you have a blessed rest of your week. And as always, be healthy, be happy, be you.